If your cup is not full and you don't even have enough for yourself, it's going to be really, really hard for you to share with others. And you also don't want to give and give and give out of your cup to the point where there's nothing there. Depleted, drained, empty. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the SoulFULL Circle Podcast. I am very, very excited to be back talking to you guys today about a topic that is very near and dear to my heart, something that I have been putting into practice a lot lately, something that I have not always been good at, but I've been getting better and better, I'd say, as time goes on, as I get more responsibility, as life gets more challenging. It's very important to learn how to set boundaries. Seriously. Now, boundaries is a topic that is important to me because I feel like in the Black community specifically, it can be a challenge, and I will talk more about why that is later. Of course, it can be challenging for everyone, but for Black and brown people in particular, it can be really hard. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. Just a little bit of overview of how I'm going to talk about these things. I'm going to talk about the difference between being tired and being depleted, because there is a huge difference. I'm going to talk about why it's important to set boundaries in the Black community. I'm going to talk about boundaries in different places, such as work, setting boundaries with friends and lovers, loved ones in general, setting boundaries with your family. I'm going to talk about why rest is revolutionary. And then, of course, we're going to get into the wealthy way. So let's just get right into it, shall we? So being tired and being depleted, two different things. Being tired, obviously, as a human being, all of us get tired. Our bodies are going to only be able to do so much. So everyone is going to get tired at some point. It's inevitable. Being tired, to me, though, is when you're feeling sleepy, feeling tired, whatever. You feel like you need to take a nap, or you just go to sleep for the night. You get your sleep. You wake up. You feel refreshed. You feel better. Everything is great. Now you can go on your merry little way. That's being tired. All you need really is a good night's sleep, maybe even a good meal, whatever, to make you feel better. And now you feel like you can take over the world. That's fantastic. However, being depleted is completely different. Being depleted, to me, is when a nap or a good night's sleep is not going to do anything for you. You wake up still feeling drained, still feeling not like yourself, still feeling like you're running on fumes. It's also when you're not treating others the way that you should be. Basically, it could even be like being anxious, things of that nature. Being depleted is really dangerous. It's not a good space to be in, and that's why you need to learn how to set some boundaries if you're constantly feeling this way. So I have been in that place more than I would like to admit, and I've had to learn how to set boundaries. I have a history of being a people pleaser and just trying to serve everyone around me, and sometimes that's unfortunately just unrealistic. One of my mentors told me something years ago that I never ever forgot, and it stuck with me this whole entire time. So imagine that you are a cup, and we've all heard the phrase, my cup overflows, my cup is full, half empty, however you want to look at it. So what she shared with me was that you want your cup to be full, obviously. If your cup is only halfway full or half empty, whatever you want to say, you don't have enough to give, because you don't even have enough for yourself because you're only halfway full. You want to fill your cup up. so that way your cup will start to overflow, and whatever overflows, you can share that with others. But if your cup is not full and you don't even have enough for yourself, it's going to be really, really hard for you to share with others. And you also don't want to give and give and give out of your cup to the point where there's nothing there. Depleted, drained, empty. Set some boundaries. So yeah, that is just something that I try to live by in my life. I try to always check in with myself to see how I'm feeling, to see if I need to fill my cup back up, because sometimes you need to do that. So that is something that I try to do. Now, in the Black community specifically, setting boundaries can be a challenge for many reasons. When you look at the history of our country, obviously we were brought over here in chains, and we had no choice, no rights to do anything. So we couldn't really set boundaries. We were constantly being violated. We were constantly being drained every single day, working before the sun comes up to after the sun goes down, being snatched away from our friends and families at a moment's notice, being SA'd and R'd, if y'all know what that means. If not, think about it. But yeah, it was hard. It was really, really hard. And even after slavery became illegal, well, chattel slavery became illegal, there are so many trickle-down effects of slavery still in effect today. And I think that's why it's really hard for a lot of Black people to set boundaries, because we sometimes don't even know how to rest, or we feel guilty for resting. I don't want to talk too much about that right now, because I'm going to get more into that later as to why rest is revolutionary for us. But when you think about the generations before us, so you got to work twice as hard to get half as much, and yada, yada, yada. And that's what they really believed and lived by, because a lot of our parents and grandparents grew up during the civil rights movement when segregation was a thing, and we really still didn't have rights. We were being pushed to the side and segregated. Just horrible things were happening to us at all times. So again, a lot of us don't know how to set boundaries. We weren't taught that. A lot of our parents and grandparents weren't taught how to set proper boundaries. And it's still a challenge for a lot of us, even in this new generation, because many of us are still on the come up. We're still trying to build our careers. We're still trying to have a social life. We're still trying to become successful. And it's just hard. It's really hard. So again, this is why I wanted to speak on this today, because this is something that I've experienced as well. And I feel like I'm in a place to be able to talk more about it now. So yeah, set boundaries. Now, first, I am going to, go into setting boundaries at work. So as I kind of said, obviously, Black people weren't given proper access to the same kind of jobs as white people in a lot of cases. Or when we get to these jobs, things are harder for us unnecessarily, whether we're dealing with microaggressions or just lack of resources, lack of funding, pay gap. So many things are in our way, especially if you're a woman of color, but for men too, it's really, really challenging. So at work, a lot of us feel like we have to go above and beyond at all times in order to be given the same recognition as our white counterparts. And that can deplete a person. Especially, some of us have to work multiple jobs. If you are like me in college, and even now, I am known for having 2, 3. There was a time where I had 4 jobs at once, if you count my business. And that was hard. I was depleted all the time. But doing all the different things, working all of these different jobs to be able to make ends meet, and everyone has different demands of you. If you're working 2 completely different jobs, you have to wear all these different hats and do this dance and just running in place. I always compared it to running on a hamster wheel. And it is so hard. Like, oh my goodness, when I was in college, that was one of the most difficult things that I've ever done is trying to finish college. That's why it took me so long to do it, because I was just balancing all of these different things. But it's hard, man. It is so hard for people who, even if you do just have one full-time job, sometimes you have other commitments. Sometimes you got kids. Sometimes you have volunteering that you do. Sometimes you have a side hustle or whatever the case may be. You have to learn how to set boundaries, not only with like your bosses and your coworkers, because depending on the job you have, some people will be trying to email you and text you and call you at all hours of the night. And if you're an entrepreneur, sometimes your clients will do the same thing. And yeah, I just, I don't allow that anymore. When I first started my business, I felt like I had to give people access to me all the time because I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to hustle. I'm trying to get it in. But I just realized I'm not serving anyone by doing that, because now I'm angry and grouchy and I got an attitude, all because I didn't set proper boundaries. So one thing that I have practiced in my business is setting business hours. Even though my business, Wealthy Media, is photography, film, social media strategy, and coaching, I still set business hours. My current business hours are 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. And I think on Saturday as well, I have it set up like that. But those are the only hours and days that my clients can expect a response from me. If they contact me outside of those hours, I will not be available, period. Because I just can't. Like, I have to have something left for myself. I have to have time to wind down and decompress. Now, depending on the project, if it's something that I really want to do that bad, I may work outside of my business hours, but that is rare. That's extremely rare, and it has to be somebody that I am just dreaming and absolutely over the moon to work with. But other than that, respectfully, I'm not going to be responding at all hours of the night because I'm resting. I need time to rest, or else I'm not going to be operating as my best self. And I always want to put my best foot forward for whoever it is that I'm serving in the community. So that's that. I even have it set up. I prefer not to work on Sundays and Mondays. Now, I do have a full-time job as well, so I have to work Mondays for my job, but Sundays and Mondays, I'm just not making myself available in most cases. Every now and then, again, if I feel like it's necessary, maybe I will, but that is extremely rare. And again, that's not because I don't love my clients. That's not because I don't want to help them. It's just, again, I'm only one person, and myself, I can only do so much. So I have to set boundaries. That's that. When it comes to setting boundaries with your friends or your lovers, now I have talked a little bit about the friendship circle in the previous episode. If you haven't seen that, definitely go check it out, because I go really in depth about friendships and how friendship has different categories and different levels of people who should have access to you. But the same goes with your romantic relationships. You simply cannot give everyone access to you, because if you do, again, same thing as work, you're going to be depleted. You're not going to have anything left for yourself. If you are constantly bending over backwards for somebody, if people are used to having access to you all the time and you don't set any type of boundaries with them, they're going to feel like they can continue to do that. They're going to feel like they can continue to use you. They're going to feel like you're just always going to be available for them. And that's not the case. Y'all, stop it. Stop abandoning yourself for other people. You are one person and God made you unique and wonderful. And whoever don't realize that, whoever doesn't respect the boundaries that you have in place, is not for you. Just don't abandon yourself for other people. Don't do it, because then people aren't going to take your boundaries serious when you do try to set them. People going to feel like you playing because you're not standing on business. So you have to set your boundaries and stick to them. Man, I love that phrase so much. Stand on business. Stand on it. Like, for real. Get really, really clear on what it is that you are and are not going to accept, and stick to it. Get clear on the people that you want to have in your life. Gravitate towards people who make you feel full, people who help you fill up your cup that I mentioned earlier, not people who are going to constantly take and drain and have you at the point where you don't have anything left for yourself. No, we doing full cups only, all 2020 thrive. That's something that my sister friend Empress says all the time. 2020 thrive, because this is really the year for that, y'all. Like, let's do it. We're not playing around with ourselves anymore, period. And the same thing goes for family. Now, depending on what your family dynamic is, I mean, I'm the youngest in my immediate family, so I kind of grew up with people kind of telling me like, oh, this is what it is. This is what it's not going to be like. This is what you should do. This is what you shouldn't do. Da 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 da. And for a while, it was really hard for me to like kind of chart my own path. And honestly, the same thing can kind of go for if you're the oldest, because a lot of times if you're the oldest, people expect all of these things from you. People might expect you to be the provider. You might have had to take on more of a parent role in your family, and now you got people looking up to you. And that could be the same thing if you're the youngest too, because I have little cousins that look up to me and little ones that, you know, I try to lead. But regardless, if you have all, and of course if you're a parent, if you got all these different people depending on you and relying on you, well, if you're a parent, it's different because you kind of don't have a choice, but you can still set boundaries as your kids get older. But if you have a lot of people depending on you and you're used to ripping and running all over the place for your family and bending over backwards, and there might come a day when you need to rest or you need to stop for a second and fill your cup back up. But now people are kind of like not expecting you to be able to do that. You might have family who is constantly asking you for things that you don't have, or maybe you had it at one point and things have changed. Now you don't. Sometimes boundaries are so important to protect your mental health. Again, all this is doing is another way of loving yourself. This is a way for you to check in with yourself and make sure that you're good at all times, because you are responsible for you. You were assigned to your body and your mind, and you got to be of sound mind and body. You just got to, especially right now in this day and age as a person of color. Boundaries are essential, period. And that's why, going back to my favorite point, rest is revolutionary. Again, when you look at the history of our country, we weren't really given much rest time. Like, we weren't. And a lot of times, even back to now, we feel guilty for resting. I know sometimes, it's so hard for me to be still because I do so many things. And it's a lot of times when I do find the time to rest, I still struggle with it. I'm like, I feel like I need to be doing something. Or when I take too many days off, I feel guilty. God forbid I take a vacation. Now it's been hard for me to enjoy vacation sometimes because I'm so worried about what's going on at home and all of this stuff. Or maybe I got clients and people calling me and texting me. Y'all, take the PTO. Book the trip. You only got one life and you need to explore it. You need to see what's out there. If you are on vacation, unless there's like some type of emergency happening, set that vacation email. Tell people that you're out of office at this time. You're not responding to anything. Unless there is an emergency, do not call me. Do not text me. I'm trying to enjoy my life. I'm trying to recharge. You want to come back from your vacations feeling refreshed. You don't want to feel even more drained. And it's nothing like when you're coming back from a trip and you are like dreading. I hate that feeling when you come home and you're dreading coming home. That's so sad. But I've been working so hard to build a life that I love. I don't want to constantly feel like, and maybe I'm going on a tangent now, but I don't want to be feeling like I have to escape from my life, or like I have to do all these different things to make me feel like I'm somewhere else, all because I'm not setting proper boundaries on a day-to-day basis. And that's something that you can get really good at. If you're not good at it in retrospect, it's a skill. You can build it, you can get better at it, but it does take practice and it takes work, but you can do it. And if you are somebody that's already great at setting boundaries, I love you so much. And shout out to you and kudos for you. Cause like, for real, it's hard. It really is hard. And I feel like our rest is under attack every single day, but there's nothing wrong with it. I went to an amazing speech the other day from a new mentor of mine, and her whole entire speech was about why rest is so important, and how in our careers, we feel like we have to do all the things and we're wearing all these different hats and nobody can do it like me. Nobody can do it like us. But when she really took a step back, y'all, she lives in Costa Rica for part of the year, and she gets to do her thing now because she has set her business up to a point where it operates without her. Like, of course, every now and then she has to check in on certain things, but for the most part, she's good. Like, she doesn't need to be there. She's in Costa Rica drinking tea and sitting on a beach because she has earned that right. And I aspire. I'm gonna get there too. But yeah, just make sure that you set them boundaries, y'all. Like, I could go on and on about this topic because it is something that is hard, but you can do it. And that leads me to the wealthy way for this episode. So the wealthy way is a way for me to end every single episode on a good note. Wealthy is the name of my brand, and it's spelled healthy with a W in front because it is a mindset that I have adopted and that I encourage others to adopt, which just means putting your best foot forward, showing up as your best self in the world, doing whatever you have to do to make sure you are of sound mind and body and spirit. So my wealthy way, and it is basically one thing that I am going to do to make sure that I am embodying all of these things. My wealthy way for this episode, of course, as I'm setting boundaries, is just doing the best job that I possibly can of sticking to them. And I want to examine every single area of my life. You know what? I'm going to make a list of kind of everything that I just named: work, friends, romantic life, and family, and just making sure that I have the proper boundaries set in all of these areas and that I won't waver on them. And once things are written down, that's it. Nothing can really change that. Like, it's written in stone at that point. So I'm going to re-examine and revisit the boundaries that I have set and make sure that they're super clear to me, and then I will make sure that they're super clear to everyone else. And I think that'll be great because I'm getting ready to start a new chapter in my life. I'm actually getting ready to start a new job post-graduation, so I'm very excited about that. And I want to go into it with a clear mind. I want to go into it very intentional and making sure that I have boundaries set with others around me so that I can show up at work and in my business the best way that I possibly can, show up for my loved ones and for myself the best way that I possibly can. So I'm excited about this new chapter in my life. And yeah, so that's all that I really have for you guys today. Again, please make sure you have those boundaries set. Just to reiterate everything that we've talked about today, we've talked about being tired versus being depleted, the difference between those two things. Make sure that you're checking in with yourself to make sure that if you're feeling away, you are just tired and that you're not drained or depleted. If you are, figure out why. Those boundaries. We talked about why it's important in the Black community specifically and why rest has been revolutionary for us as a people in this day and age. Talked about the importance of setting boundaries at work with your loved ones and family, all of that good stuff. So thank you guys so very much for listening to this episode of the SoulFULL Circle Podcast. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, share this with a friend if it resonated with you. I'm so excited to be able to talk to you guys on this platform. It has been so amazing for me so far, and I hope that it's hopeful for you guys as well. Until next time, guys, I love you so much. This is your host, Flexi Lexi, signing out. Stay positive and productive.